How do you show up for yourself? How do you show up for yourself the same way that you've shown up for others? How do you show up for yourself when you have nothing else to give? When your cup is empty, you don't have the strength to replenish it, and there's no one around to replenish it for you. I just wrapped up a very tearful therapy session, and that was the main topic of what we talked about today is how do you pour into you the way that you've poured into others? You have shown up for your parents, you've shown up for your siblings, for friends, for other family members. You've shown up at work and you continue to show up every day. How do you do that for yourself? What steps and practices do you have in place for you? How do you take a step back from everyone else and start to pour into you? When my therapist asked me that, I didn't know how to answer it, right? I came up with I can go for walks every day and I can make sure I eat healthy meals. And yeah, of course, absolutely. Yes. But I didn't take the time to really sit with the question and allow the question to run through my body, to check in and see, how do I feel saying out loud, how can I show up for myself? So we wrapped up the session and I took some time to write in my journal. And I came up with 5 prompts for us to think about, to journal out how we can show up for ourselves. Number 1, what does showing up for myself actually look like right now in this season in my life? And that's very important. In this season in your life, what does showing up for you look like? And not the idealized way, right? Not superficial way, but what's real and what's possible today. And for me, what's possible today is I can make juice every morning. I'm on a health journey. I've had some health issues since I moved back to Texas. And showing up for me looks like making myself fresh juice in one smoothie every day and having at least 64 ounces of water. Not being unrealistic and saying I'm going to have a gallon of water every single day. That's my goal. That's what I used to do. But today, I know that I have the capacity to consume at least 64 ounces of water. I can make fresh juice and I can have a smoothie every day. I can also go on 30-minute walks every day. I may not have time or the energy to go to the gym because we're on summer break. All my time and attention is going to work and my child now. But I can stop and take a 30-minute walk every single day. Number 2, where in my life am I abandoning my needs in order to keep the peace or meet other expectations? Ask yourself, where am I abandoning me to keep the peace? Where am I abandoning me to show up for someone else, to show up for my family, to show up for your friends, to show up for a project that's due up at work? Where are you abandoning yourself? Be honest. When you're writing out these journal prompts, be honest. And that can be very hard to do. It can be hard to be honest with yourself. But as you're going through these questions, stop and really think about, what's the question? What is it asking me? What do I feel like? How do I feel while I'm reading this question? And then say it out loud. How do I feel as I'm saying this question out of my mouth? What do I feel in my body? Am I feeling tense? Do I feel relaxed? Am I feeling anxious? Maybe I don't know what I feel, and that's okay too. Number 3, what is one boundary I can honor this week that would protect my energy or peace? What's one thing that you can do this week to protect yourself, to protect your mental state, to protect your physical state, to protect your peace? Just one. I don't want you to think of 3 or 4. Allow the question to sit with you. Allow it to resonate in your body. And what's one thing that you can do this week to protect your peace? For me, that one thing, I am going to turn my phone on Do Not Disturb sooner. I have it automatically set for a certain time, for a certain amount of hours, but I'm going to put it on an hour earlier. That's my promise to myself this week. And it's small. Yes, it is small, but that's huge for me. Because what it does is it allows me just one extra hour where I'm not receiving a text message notification. I'm not getting a phone call or a FaceTime or an email. That's 1 hour that I can have to myself. Number 4, what parts of me have been whispering for attention, and how can I listen more closely? What parts of you in this present season have been just nudging and slightly whispering, hey, this needs to be addressed. You need to listen to this. You need to pay attention to this. For me, that's my health. Like I said, I have been very sick. My allergies have been terrible since I moved back to Dallas. And that has caused me to have to take all of these allergy shots and steroid shots and just things that I had never experienced before in my life. And, the results of steroid shots are weight gain and exhaustion. And so my body is saying, we need to address your health. There's something going on that is triggering your allergies, that is causing all of these results. Lean in, tune in. Let's address this. And the last question is, if I treated myself with the same care and commitment I give others, what would I do differently? That's huge. That's huge. If you gave to others, committed to yourself the way that you commit to others, cared for yourself the way that you care for others, what would you do differently? What does that look like to commit to yourself and care for yourself the way that you care for other people? And maybe you don't know how. It's possible that you have given so much of yourself to everyone else that you don't know how to commit to yourself. So this last question, don't rush into it. Take a deep breath. Really think about it. Really take it in. And give one example to yourself of how you showed up and committed to someone else. And then what would that look like if you did it for yourself? What does that look like? For me, what does that look like for me? If I treated myself with the same care and commitment that I give to others, what would I do differently? For me, I would give myself more grace. I would give myself more grace. I am committed to understanding people and extending grace to them and not allowing them to be so hard on themselves and teaching them how to have grace with themselves. That if I treated myself with that same level of commitment and care, I would learn to give myself more grace. So these are the 5 genre prompts that I will be doing this week. And I invite you to do these as well. Before you start each question, take a moment to think, take a moment to have a deep breath, maybe do a light stretch while you're sitting, have a nice warm cup of tea or coffee, get into a space where it's just you, which can be hard to do if you have a family. Maybe wait till your children go to sleep, wait till your partner goes to sleep, and lock yourself in the bathroom if you have to. But take a moment in between each question. Take a deep breath. Allow your brain and your body to process. And maybe don't answer all of the questions in one day. Maybe answer one question per day. One day where you're just resonating and thinking and focusing and studying one question. And you're allowing that one question and the answer to come to you and flow to you freely. And you're acknowledging how it feels in your body. And then the next day you commit to the next question. And then by day 5, you commit to the final question. And day 6, you should have a roadmap to what showing up for yourself can look like.